Orange is the color between red and yellow on the spectrum of light, and in the traditional color wheel used by painters. Its name is derived from the fruit orange. In Europe and America, orange is commonly associated with amusement, the unconventional, extroverts, warmth, fire, energy, activity, danger, taste and aroma, the autumn season, and Protestantism. In Asia, it is an important symbolic color of Buddhism and Hinduism. In nature and culture, the color orange derives its name from the orange fruit. Delicate arch in Arches National Park, Utah. Lifeboats in Arklow Harbor, Ireland. Orange is chosen for lifeboats and life-saving jackets because of its high visibility. A young Buddhist monk in Laos. Hindu sadhus, or holy men, in Rajasthan, wear orange as a sacred color. Saffron is both a spice and a widely used dye in Asia. Etymology. The color orange is named after the appearance of the ripe orange fruit. The word comes from the Old French orange, from the old term for the fruit, pomme d'orange. That name comes from the Arabic naranj, through the Persian naranj, derived from the Sanskrit naranga. The first recorded use of orange as a color name in English was in 1512, in a will now filed with the Public Record Office. Before this word was introduced to the English-speaking world, saffron already existed in the English language. Krog also referred to the saffron color, so that orange was also referred to as giolu red for reddish-orange, or giolu krog for yellowish-orange. Alternatively, orange things were sometimes described as red, such as red deer, red hare, the red planet and robin redbreast. History and art. In ancient Egypt, artists used an orange mineral pigment called realgar for tomb paintings, as well as other uses. It was also used later by medieval artists for the coloring of manuscripts. Pigments were also made in ancient times from a mineral known as orpiment. Orpiment was an important item of trade in the Roman Empire, and was used as a medicine in China. Although it contains arsenic and is highly toxic, it was also used as a fly poison and to poison arrows. Because of its yellow-orange color, it was also a favorite with alchemists searching for a way to make gold, both in China and the West. Before the late 15th century, the color orange existed in Europe, but without the name of it was simply called yellow-red. Portuguese merchants brought the first orange trees to Europe from Asia in the late 15th and early 16th century, along with the Sanskrit naranga, which gradually became orange in English. In parts of Germany, the Netherlands, and Russia, the orange fruit was and is still called the Chinese apple. People in ancient Egyptian wall paintings often were shown with orange or yellow-orange skin, painted with a pigment called realgar. The mineral orpiment was a source of yellow and orange pigments in ancient Rome, though it contained arsenic and was highly toxic. Icon, 12th century. The House of Orange. The House of Orange Nassau was one of the most influential royal houses in Europe in the 16th and 17th centuries. It originated in 1163. The tiny Principality of Orange, a feudal state of 108 square miles north of Avignon in southern France. The Principality of Orange took its name not from the fruit, but from a Roman Celtic settlement on the site which was founded in 36 or 35 BC and was named Arasio, after a Celtic water god. However, the name may have been slightly altered, and the town associated with the color, because it was on the route by which quantities of oranges were brought from southern ports such as Marseille to northern France. The family of the Prince of Orange eventually adopted the name and the color orange. The color came to be associated with Protestantism, due to participation by the House of Orange on the Protestant side in the French Wars of Religion. One member of the house, William I of Orange, organized the Dutch resistance against Spain, a war that lasted for 80 years, until the Netherlands won its independence. Another member, William III of Orange, became King of England in 1689, after the downfall of the Catholic James II. Due to William III, orange became an important political color in Britain and Europe. William was a Protestant, and as such he defended the Protestant minority of Ireland against the majority Roman Catholic population. As a result, the Protestants of Ireland were known as Orangemen. Orange eventually became one of the colours of the Irish flag, symbolising the Protestant heritage. In the United States, the flag of the city of New York has an orange stripe, to remember the Dutch colonists who founded the city. William of Orange is also remembered as the founder of the College William and Mary, and Nassau County in New York is named after the House of Orange-Nassau. William III of Orange, ruler of both England and the Netherlands. The Orange Free State in South Africa was an independent Boer republic in the late 19th century, then a British colony, then part of the Union of South Africa. The orange colour came from the Orange River, named for the Dutch House of Orange. The Dutch flag is in the upper left-hand corner. The flag of the Union of South Africa had an orange stripe, due to House of Orange and the period when the country was a Dutch colony. The modern flag of New York City takes its colors from the Dutch flag of the 17th century, and has an orange stripe in honor of the House of Orange-Nassau, celebrating Queen's Day in Amsterdam. The royal family of the Netherlands belonged to the House of Orange. 18th and 19th century. In the 18th century, orange was sometimes used to depict the robes of Pomona, the goddess of fruitful abundance. Her name came from the pomon, the Latin word for fruit. Oranges themselves became more common in Northern Europe, thanks to the 17th century invention of the heated greenhouse, a building type which became known as an orangery. The French artist Jean-Honoré Fragonard depicted an allegorical figure of inspiration, dressed in orange. In 1797, a French scientist Louis Vauquelin discovered the mineral crocoite, or lead chromate, which led in 1809 to the invention of the synthetic pigment chrome orange. Other synthetic pigments, cobalt red, cobalt yellow, and cobalt orange, the last made from cadmium sulfide plus cadmium selenide, soon followed. These new pigments, plus the invention of the metal paint tube in 1841, made it possible for artists to paint outdoors and to capture the colors of natural light. In Britain, orange became highly popular with the pre-Raphaelites and with history painters. The flowing red-orange hair of Elizabeth Siddal, the wife of painter Dante Gabriel Rossetti, became a symbol of the pre-Raphaelite movement. Lord Leighton, the president of the Royal Academy, produced Flaming June, a painting of a sleeping young woman in a bright orange dress, which won wide acclaim. Albert Joseph Moore painted festive scenes of Romans wearing orange cloaks brighter than any the Romans ever likely wore. In the United States, Winslow Homer brightened his palette with vivid oranges. In France, painters took orange in an entirely different direction. In 1872, Claude Monet painted Impression Sunrise, a tiny orange sun and some orange light reflected on the clouds and water in the center of a hazy blue landscape. This painting gave its name to the Impressionist movement. Orange became an important color for all the Impressionist painters. They all had studied the recent books on color theory, and they know that orange placed next to azure blue made both colors much brighter. Auguste Renoir painted boats with stripes of chrome orange paint straight from the tube. Paul Cézanne did not use orange pigment, but created his own oranges with touches of yellow, red and ochre against a blue background. Toulouse-Lautrec often used oranges in the skirts of dancers and gowns of Parisienne in the cafes and clubs he portrayed. For him it was the color of festivity and amusement. The post-impressionists went even further with orange. Paul Gauguin used oranges as backgrounds, for clothing and skin color, to fill his pictures with light and exoticism. But no other painter used orange so often and dramatically as Vincent van Gogh, who had shared a house with Gauguin in Arles for a time. For Van Gogh, orange and yellow were the pure sunlight of Provence. He created his own oranges with mixtures of yellow, ochre and red, and placed them next to slashes of sienna red and bottle green, and below a sky of turbulent blue and violet. He put an orange moon and stars in a cobalt blue sky. He wrote to his brother Theo of searching for oppositions of blue with orange, of red with green, of yellow with violet, searching for broken colors and neutral colors to harmonize the brutality of extremes, trying to make the colors intense, and not a harmony of grays. Inspiration, by Jean-Honoré Fragonard. Midsummer, by Albert Joseph Moore. The flowing red-orange hair of Elizabeth Siddal, wife of painter Dante Gabriel Rossetti, became a symbol of the pre-Raphaelite movement. Impression Sunrise by Claude Monet featured a tiny but vivid chrome orange sun. The painting gave its name to the Impressionist movement. Emperor Pedro II of Brazil wearing the imperial mantle decorated with orange feathers. Painting by Pedro Américo. The New Novel, by Winslow Homer. Orsman a Chateau by Pierre-Auguste Renoir. Renoir knew that orange and blue brightened each other when put side by side. Self-portrait of Paul Gauguin. Willow Trees at Sunset by Van Gogh. Arles. Moelis. From the 1890 to 1891 series of Haystacks by Claude Monet. Henri de Toulouse-Lautrec was extremely fond of orange, the color of amusement. Jane Avril. Flaming June, by Lord Leighton. Vera Marti, by Paul Gauguin. 20th and 21st centuries. In the 20th and 21st centuries, the color orange had highly varied associations, both positive and negative. The high visibility of orange made it a popular color for certain kinds of clothing and equipment. During the Second World War, U.S. Navy pilots in the Pacific began to wear orange inflatable life jackets, which could be spotted by search and rescue planes. After the war, these jackets became common on both civilian and naval vessels of all sizes, and on aircraft that flew over water. Orange was also widely worn by workers on highways and by cyclists to avoid being hit by cars, and for the flight suits of the crews of the Space Shuttle and the International Space Station. A herbicide called Agent Orange was widely sprayed from aircraft by the Royal Air Force during the Malayan Emergency and the U.S. Air Force during the Vietnam War to remove the forest and jungle cover beneath which enemy combatants were believed to be hiding, and to expose their supply routes. The chemical was not actually orange but took its name from the color of the steel drums in which it was stored. Agent Orange was toxic, and was later linked to birth defects and other health problems. Orange also had a political dimension. In Ukraine in November-December 2004, it became the color of the Orange Revolution, a popular movement which carried activist and reformer Viktor Yushchenko into the presidency. A U.S. Navy pilot during World War II wearing an orange inflatable life jacket. Crew members of the International Space Station. A U.S. helicopter spraying Agent Orange on a jungle during the Vietnam War. A 2005 postage stamp of Ukraine commemorated the Orange Revolution of 2004. Firefighter car in Switzerland. Orange mailbox, Estonia.